So let's see right now how our SQL importer helps adapt to different structures of database and how we can map that into HAL data model. I will share my screen again to show you a sample. This is a Postgres DB that you may use for your product. On the right side, we have the schema explorer. So I'll explain you really quick what we've got here. We have the free trial users. So, that's a usual pattern we see across customers of ours. We have a single table with all the users of their product. And we have a couple of, basic data points. When the record was created, the email address of the user, some ID, plan that that user picked for the free trial, and an array of strings explaining which products that person decided to trial. And here I have 2 records added for that demo. 2 people signed up for a pro plan and testing out a couple of products. So right now I'll switch from that DB view into our dashboard again. And I have SQL Importer installed and set up already, but I'll show you how easy it is to set up and connect. Obviously, as with any database tool, we need to start with some connection information. So we usually get them from IT departments to fill in the host name, database name, username, and password. Once the credentials are present, we can define some basic information about the configuration of that import. The main important parameter is the import type, which corresponds to the types of objects that we want import thanks to that SQL importer. As mentioned earlier, we have users, accounts, and events. For that specific example, I will use the users import type, which will create attributes on the user profile. Once I'm good with the setup here, I have all my credentials and basic information set up. I'll get back to the overview page and to the query editor, which is the core part of the SQL importer. So it shows us a query editor, place where we write the query. It can be as complex as you need. So it's standard query that you may get from your IT department. If you need to query a couple of tables, it's possible. This sample is very basic. I mostly do a renaming. So I take a couple of those columns from that free trial table. I put them in a group of attributes. This is where this slash notation is important. I will show you on the user profile in a moment what's the result. And I also make some decisions about the identifiers. As Tim mentioned, we'll cover the identity resolution in later webinar session, and we'll stick to a very basic email-based scenario right now. And at the end, I decide from which table the data comes in. And we also, in the SQL importer, expose a feature to provide you an easy way to preview the results. That's something our customers love, that when they work on the query, they are not sure what would be the result. They can always hit the preview, which will give you the live result directly from the DB. So we'll take the sample of data. In our case, we just had those 2 users, so we got the same 2 users, but we can see and verify if the data is coming in the correct places. So yeah, the email address is under email column. It is a string. Plan information is here. We also get the array, which is great, and we also get the timestamp at the end. So when I'm ready with the data, I'm okay with the structure of the data, I can hit the import button, which will perform the full import of the whole database. It's great for the initial sync. It's great for some historical backfills. So I'll trigger it. The job started in the background. We'll see the results shortly on the user profile. I'll close that model. Obviously, from now, we would like that integration to run on a defined interval that I can specify in the settings of the connector. But there is a challenge here. If the DB is big, pulling the whole database, all the rows every time may create a lot of load and performance issue. So that's why we expose a feature called incremental queries, so that in the query editor, we allow you to use additional parameters which you may use in your query. So I'll make that query a little bit more complex. I'll add a where clause, and let's assume I have updated at column in my DB. If you were paying attention to my structure, you know that I don't have it, but I probably should. Usually the DB will contain this kind of attribute. And let's say I want to get only users that were updated after last run, and I can use last updated at parameter like this, and the connector will replace that part with a specific timestamp of the previous run. So my job was running in the background. I'll get back to the user profile I was showing you before. And if I scroll down on the list of attributes on the left, we can see this block of information. They are nicely grouped together, so it's easy to distinguish data coming from Livestorm from data coming from the free trial. The created ad is parsed correctly. The plan was a simple string, but the products are an array of information. So let's go to the users list and see how we can now activate that combined data, which was simply stitched together using the email address, to start segment our users based on either the free trial behavior or the Livestorm behavior. So let's say that the users who sign up for the Pro free trial are interesting for us because they are more willing to subscribe for bigger plans. So I'll add an attribute on our users list. That's our segmentation engine that we want to give you just a quick overview of. And I will search for plan, and I can quickly find the free trial plan. And I'll ask only for those who have Pro trial plan, and I get 2 results. But let's say we know that for among those users, those who additionally register for a webinar have much higher conversion rate. So these are the most valuable people to target with our campaigns. So I'll add, this time maybe I did it too quick. I can hit add an event. That's a place where our segmentation engine allows you to ask different data points. I'll search for registered for webinar event and give me all the users who have that event at least once in their timeline over the retention period. I can drill that segment even further. I can say, okay, I only want for people from a specific webinar name, your data, your way. And that's my segment. Now I can save that segment, give it some name that I can recognize. I could call it Pro Trial plus Webinar. And I can save that segment, and when it's saved, that data will be both stored on the user profile as an array of segment names, and now I can send out that information to any other tool that I have connected with our native integrations, or maybe some custom integrations as well. So that was the whole scenario end-to-end, getting data from Livestorm, getting data from the SQL Importer, stitching together using the email address, and creating a segment based on behavior and attributes data from both services.